The other big thing I would say, and this is something I learned from my mentor and teacher, Joe Flummerfelt, and this is something I'm really going to be emphasizing, and it's the critical nature of the breath and breathing. And I'm not talking about breath management as a singer. I'm talking about how you breathe and why you breathe as a conductor, and how that breathing generates line, how it affects the gesture, how it frees the singer's voice, how it allows you to hear. And unfortunately, that's just not taught by many people at all, but it makes all the difference in the world. And in fact, when I conduct orchestras, the one thing they'll always say to me is, "You're so easy to play for. We love the way you breathe," right? So if we can get people breathing and listening, they're the two technical skills that I really want people to get on board with. And then, of course, having in their inner ear a very strong concept of what they want. Energy then follows intention, and then the gesture is going to be more organic.
Now, you've talked a lot about with the workshop rehearsal what conductors can get out of it. What about if you're a choral singer? What's in it for you as a choral singer, or for me if I'm just coming along to sing in that choir in that workshop? I might be somebody who's not regularly with the choir. I just come in for the workshop. What benefits can they expect?
Good. Well, plenty, I hope. So the first thing I would say is that I encourage singers to not show up, leave their brain at the door, and just wait to be told everything they've got to do. There's no lobotomy required when you enter the choral room. I want singers to come and be active participants in the process. And we're going to talk about what they're going to do with their own vocal technique. And again, this is something where I'm really interested to interact with voice teachers as well as conductors, because I have a very particular philosophy of sound and how we work with sound and why. And the spoiler alert here is, I don't believe that when you sing in choir, you have a choir voice and then you have a different voice as a soloist. No. It's to do with how you listen and how you work yourself within the texture. So I want singers to come and work with the voice that their creator or their studio teacher is helping them to cultivate. And if you are not having voice lessons or anything like that, then the group vocal technique that you learn through the conductor is going to be your mechanism. So there's going to be plenty of technique there. Musically, we want to be thinking about how that technique will serve us as an artist, getting people to actively engage their imagination. But I want people to be self-regulating. And I want to see, because if I'm hearing mistakes and nobody's reacting, we've got a problem. They're either lazy or they don't get it. And they're both issues that we need to address. Then the other one I'm doing with my students at the moment is raise your hand if it's you. Raise your hand if you hear a mistake, even if it's not your mistake. Let me know that you hear something, because we've got to teach our singers how to listen. Too many singers do not. They're just sitting there listening to themselves, doing their own thing. Oh, she's working with the tenors. Great. I'm going to sit here and scroll my Instagram feed until she needs the sopranos again. No. We're not doing that. We're actually going to have everybody engaged in such a way that they feel an imperative to be actively involved in solving the problems, being part of the solution. And the best way I can do that is when I'm in a situation where I'm working repertoire with people and, we've got an end point in mind.